Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our How to Position Your Business to get up to 150,000 in funding as a startup business. We're also going to be teaching you how to start building business credit without a personal credit check. So I want to welcome you to this training. I'm so glad that you're here with us. So first and foremost, give yourselves a pat on the back for taking the very first step to learning about building business credit. I'm Coach Shaune. I'm a financial wealth strategist, and I'm best known for my book, Sexy Credit. This book has helped thousands of people to achieve a 700 plus credit score. I help change the lives of business owners who want to live their dream without enduring the punishment of their past financial mistakes. So, hopefully, this is going to also help you. So, first things first. Did you know that 90% of business owners don't know about business credit, and 42% of them fail within the first 2 to 5 years due to lack of capital? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down step by step exactly how you can go out and position yourself and your business to get up to 150,000 or more in funding, okay? Without using your tax returns, financial statements, or even if you're an independent contractor or if you're a self-employed individual. So now the key thing that I'm talking about is leveraging your credit. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about. Leveraging your credit, your business credit, but you can also leverage your personal credit as well. So the things that we're going to be discussing, as I indicated, I'm going to break down for you step by step, okay, how you can leverage credit using other people's money. I'm going to break down corporate credit versus business funding. So you're going to understand exactly how to maximize all three of them. I'm going to break down how to create a credit optimized company. Now that's very important, right? Because you need a company that is optimized. So even if you don't have a company, you're going to learn what steps to take in order to make sure it's credit optimized. So when you do create a company, you'll be able to do so, okay? And then we're going to show you how to systematically build business credit from scratch. So this is going to really, really change your perspective on how credit really works. So one of the things that you're going to want to access, okay, is the checklist that we offer, okay? So that you can go through, and this checklist is going to help you over the next 30 days to actually get started and make sure that everything is set up straight. So make sure that you download this checklist, use the link that's provided at the end, okay? And the concepts are going to really help transform your relationship with your money and your credit, okay? So this is going to help give you that roadmap on how stuff really works. And when I say stuff, I mean business credit, okay? So this session is for you if you've been denied financing for your business, if you need money to grow your business, or if you want to get away from personal guarantees. Okay, this business is also for you if you don't currently have a business and you're thinking about starting one. Now, what this session is not. It's not for you if you're somebody who's seeking a lot of free information, but you never take action. Okay, if you're somebody who does not take your business serious and you want to keep using your personal credit, or if you're easily distracted and you don't want to follow a proven strategy. This session is also not for you if you're not thinking about starting a business. So before we get started, let's cover some housekeeping rules, okay? So I want you to share this information with somebody else because it's going to change their life just like it's going to change your life. I want you to take notes. I want you to make sure that you take those notes and then you apply the information that is provided to you. So we often talk about knowledge, and knowledge being key, a knowledge being power. But knowledge isn't necessarily power. Applied knowledge is power. So you've got to be able to implement this immediately. So know that now that we've covered the housekeeping things, let's go ahead and get started. But let's reiterate, knowledge is power only if it's applied. So once again, I want you to take this information and I want you to apply it immediately. So why is business credit important? So most of what you've been taught about money and credit is all wrong. And for a lot of people, you haven't been taught anything. Okay. So we also have to learn to embrace the fact that we don't come from a trust. And most of us, our families aren't trust based. We aren't born with silver spoons. So when we realize that, then we have to also realize that the next best thing for us to do to get access to money is to get access for money at the banks. Okay, and when we get money from the banks, more access and money from the banks, then it puts us in a position to leverage it. Okay, and when we're leveraging it, then it's providing us working capital to start creating and building generational wealth. And so we want to begin creating that and building that generational wealth now. So this is all about teaching you how to get access to the money in the banks, right? So this is what I like to say. I like to think that we're in a financial revolution, okay? We're in a place and time where people who look like us, and when I say people who look like us, I mean people who don't come from trust, right? So people who look like us are being able to get access to working capital and then begin to change the narrative of their families when they really embrace how credit works. So before I explain business credit, let's discuss why it's in your best interest. Okay, so there's a couple of different reasons. So if you're looking at this slide here, you're going to see different ways or reasons why having good credit is important. One, it impacts your debt to income ratio to buy property. So I can't go out and continue buying property if my debt to income, my personal debt to income ratio is high. So having business credit allows me to eliminate the high debt to income ratio. Okay, it puts me in a position to lower my taxable income. For instance, when I buy vehicles over 6,000 pounds, or when I buy certain things, then it's going to provide me a different tax rate. And then if you see my beautiful grandson then down in the corner, most importantly, it puts me in a position to create generational wealth. So it puts me in a position to be able to establish something for him. And then the other thing that it's going to do is it's going to help me to grow and scale my business and my financial lifestyle. Like, isn't that really what we want? We want to live our best lives. So why not position ourselves to live our best financial life, right? And one of the things here about business credit, if you see me up there in the corner, I'm in one with a drink. I'm in one of the lounges. Then there's some travel that I do. And really, I'm able to do all of this because of my business credit. And so you're probably trying to figure out how. It's simple. When you learn how to leverage your business credit, you can then use the rewards points to travel, right? So I literally leverage my points to take trips and to refresh myself. So, what other reason do you need? I mean, there's many reasons, but what other reasons do you need than what I've just provided you to help, scale your business, eliminate your debt to income ratio, be able to use your rewards points, right, to live your best financial life, and then be able to create generational wealth, okay? And when I'm talking about creating generational wealth, I'm talking about being able to leave it for generations, okay? Not just your next generation, but for generations, and being able to teach them as well. Okay, so now that we talked about, to me, what I believe are some of the best, and you may disagree, but here are some of the benefits of business credit, okay? Business credit, it's not based on your personal credit score when you're establishing it in the beginning, okay? So you can begin creating business credit without depending on your personal credit score. So if you have bad personal credit, it's okay. because you can still continue to build that business credit. Okay, it's a separate credit report from your consumer and your commercial report. So remember when I talked about in the last slide about the debt to income ratio? Well, the thing about the debt to income ratio is that I remove that from my personal and it goes onto my commercial. So it's going to help my personal credit score as well. And then the personal guarantees. You don't really get into the personal guarantees when you're beginning to establish your personal credit because it's not required. Now, as you begin to grow, excuse me, your personal, as you begin to grow your business credit, then they are going to begin to take a look at your personal credit. So I always advise people to begin building their personal credit if it's not in good shape at the same time that they're building their business credit. Because what they're going to do is they're going to look at your personal credit as a reference to how you maintain and how you handle your personal income. And to see before we give you large sums of money, can you then handle it on the business aspect? And so one of the things about business credit is that you're going to get limits of 10 to 100 times greater than what you're going to get on your consumer amount. So that's why you're down the road, they're going to be looking to see how you're able to manage your credit, how you're able to manage money, how are you paying your bills, and that's really what they're looking at. How are you paying your bills? Can you pay your bills? Are you paying them on time? And those are the different things that they're looking at down the road when they're giving you 10 to 100 times more. So, and when I say that, let's be clear. So if you get approved for $1,000 with your personal credit, okay, on your business credit, they're going to approve you somewhere between $10,000 to $100,000 is what you can get approved for, okay? All right. The other thing is that with business credit, it establishes your credibility for lenders, suppliers, and credit issuers, okay? It says that, hey, this is a fundable, this is a legitimate, this is a company that's set up similar to like a Fortune 500, and they have a low risk factor. And so that is what you want. And then one of the other last benefits is that there's no collateral or cash flow requirements. So when we're talking about business credit, we're talking about having a separate line of business credit. It's going to make it easy for your business expenses. You're going to be able to separate your business expenses from your personal expenses. This means when it comes time for you to file your taxes, you'll already have separate financial records for your business expenses and personal expenses. And this is going to make your life and your tax attorney or your CPA or your bookkeeper, whoever does your taxes, it's going to make it a lot simpler for them, okay? And then the other thing is with a business credit line, you can also extend credit to your employees by requesting additional cards. So if you have staff that are out on the road and they need gas, you can have multiple gas cards. Each person can be assigned their own gas cards, and you can adjust the different credit limits. And every time it's used, like when I talked about those, the cashback rewards or the different rewards, every time your staff and you use your business credit, guess what? You're going to get rewards and you're going to be able to use that. It does not have to be used back for the business. It gets to be used for you. So once again, like I said, everybody needs to refresh themselves, okay? And I'm a strong believer in making sure that we constantly refresh ourselves so that we can then provide a great service to those who are patronizing our business, okay? So out of all the benefits that we talked about, perhaps the most important benefit is being able to separate your business credit from your personal credit, okay? That's going to be the most important benefit, all right? So when we begin talking about leveraging the power of credit, okay, when I first got started with my businesses, I was funding them out of my personal accounts. And what that did, we talked about a little debt to income ratio and things of that and utilization. When you understand how your personal score is calculated, what that did is it dropped my credit score down to the low 600s. And then when I began to understand business credit and began to build business credit so that my business no longer had to rely on my personal credit, my credit score went right back up to about a 771. Okay. Um, and then when I was building my business credit, I was able to establish a paydex score of an 80 within the first several months, okay, on my business credit report. And so I say all this to you to say that I've been in your shoes, okay? So if I can do it, you can do it too. But this isn't really about my testimony. It's about all the other people that I help in our community, and hopefully this is going to include you as well. Credit equals financial leverage, okay? That's what credit is. Credit is financial leverage. It's credit plus other people's money, plus the ability to purchase assets. That's literally how people create wealth. So let me repeat it. People create wealth simply by leveraging credit. And that's taking your ability to have good credit, personal or business, and then coupling it with someone else's money and being able to purchase assets. And those assets produce cash flow and produces cash flow, right? So it includes cash flow streams. So, and that's literally, like I indicate, that's literally how we begin to create wealth for ourselves. So let's understand the difference between the corporate, the business, corporate credit, business credit, and business funding. So first and foremost, it's very important for you to understand that every highly successful company in the United States has business credit, okay? That includes companies like Walmart, Target, Facebook, Amazon, just to name a few. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all of these companies have a high credit limit of about $50 million reported. It's a very high limit, right? But guess what? None of these companies started at that limit. They all had to start building credit using the same methods and the same strategies that we're going to show you. And that's pretty much corporate credit. Everyone had to start off building corporate credit in order to get to the point of getting to that $50 million worth of credit lines, okay? And simply, they had to make their payments on time, just like I did. So for the sake of understanding, let's break down the layers, these three layers of credit: corporate credit, business credit, and business funding, into three components. So first and foremost, corporate credit is credit that is extended to your company from another corporation, okay? And then that money is used at that particular corporation. So essentially, it's a company giving you what we call net term accounts. So a lot of times you may hear people talk about net accounts, okay, or net 30 or net 7 accounts. That's corporate credit. That's when a company gives you a line of credit to use just with them. You can't use it anywhere else. It's just with them. And then you have to pay it back within a certain amount of time. Another name that people call this is vendor financing accounts. So sometimes you may hear someone say that I have a vendor financing account, but this is the same thing as corporate credit, and then we can use it interchangeably, okay? And then this type of credit, okay, we want this credit to report to Dun & Bradstreet. So sometimes you're going to find yourself in a position where you already have vendors and you're using them, but they're not reporting. So then you're going to want to make sure that you go through the steps to have them reported. You don't want to just change them because you still want to maximize your cash flow as a business owner, but you want to also incorporate vendors that are reported. So this way you can begin to establish that paydex or that business score, credit score that you need. And there's some very creative ways in which we can go through and we can do that. Okay. So once you get to that point, you also want to understand that with corporate credit, let's be clear, with corporate credit, basically they're looking for an EIN number. They want to make sure that your business is set up correctly and that you have an EIN number, and that typically these accounts do not require a personal guarantee. So when we talk about being able to establish your business credit, with poor credit, these are the different accounts that you're going to be able to begin establishing and building the business credit. And it's not going to require you a personal guarantee. Okay. And then when we get to actual business credit, that's when we're talking about when your business is extended credit from a bank, a credit union, or a large financial institution. And it could be used to debit, or it can be used to access cash. So, typically when you're thinking about this, you're going to be thinking about cards like your MasterCard, your Visa card, your American Express, or your Discover accounts, right? This is what we call business credit cards, because these are cards that can be used anywhere. So unlike corporate accounts, they're not just set for a particular business. You can use this anywhere. So this is like a revolving account, okay? So this is a revolving line of credit in which typically it's an unsecured credit card. They do have some secured cards if your business just hasn't gotten it scored to where it needs to be in order to get to this level. They do have some secured, but typically the unsecured card is really what you want. And these cards require what we call a personal guarantee, okay? Which means it's going to require good personal credit in order to establish that you can use it as cash. And the reason for that is that when you get to this point and you get these revolving cards, these business credit cards, you're going to have very high limits, okay? They're going to give you typically limits of $10,000 or more, all right? And once again, that's based off of how well are you going to be able to manage this? What's your payment history like? But it's not going to, so let me be clear, okay? Because we talk about here, you're going to have to give a personal guarantee. It's a little bit different than what we typically think of as a personal guarantee. What they're doing here is that they're checking your personal credit. So they're doing like a soft credit pull to see that you have good personal credit, but it isn't reporting to your consumer. So it's not going to affect your personal utilization. It's not going to affect your personal debt to income. And so these are things that are very important to know. So when we talk about a PG with business credit cards, it's different than personal guarantee where your personal credit score, this card is based on your personal credit score. It's reporting to your personal credit or your consumer credit account. These are simply going to be reporting to your business credit. Okay? And then last, we have what we call business money. And essentially this means you're going to get loans or large infusions of cash extended to your company from, once again, some type of financial institution. Whether it's a bank, credit union, or any type of lender that's out there. And sometimes this could also include a government agency. And this is the type of capital. So when we're talking about working capital, this is the type of working capital that you can use to grow your business. Now, so we talked about corporate credit. You can take corporate credit and begin to build your business. Okay, and it definitely is going to help you with your cash flow. It's going to help you buy some of the essential things that you need. Use them up front, get paid for the service, and then pay for them. And then you're going to take that and then you're going to go right into your business credit, which we said are the revolving accounts. And those are your actual credit cards. And in your credit cards, you're going to be able to use anywhere. So you're not going to be limited to where you have to use them. And then you also can access cash from that. And then your business funding is where you're going to get the large sums of money, okay? This is where you're going to get loans. And this is when you can, when we talk about vehicles, equipments, commercial mortgages, these are the type of things that you can get with business funding. And these are basically installment. So we talked about the corporate credit being net 30, net 7 accounts. And then we talked about business credit being revolving. Okay, but then your business funding is an installment account. Okay, so it's basically like a loan or a lease. And then this type of credit is secured by some type of collateral. And it, once again, it requires that personal guarantee and a good personal credit to be established. So when you start getting into the business funding territory, not only do you have to have the good personal credit, which is why I said at the very beginning, you don't have to have it to start it, but you want to begin building it. So when you get to this point, you're in good standing. Okay. Um, and then you got to think about it. When you get to this aspect, banks are going to be looking at a combination of everything. They're going to be looking at your business information. Is your business fundable? Is your business set up properly? They're going to be looking at your business credit. They're going to be looking at your personal. They're going to look at a combination of all these things in order to make a linear decision. Okay? So all three of these types of credit, corporate, business, and business funding, right? All of them have their pros and cons. But the point is, you want to use all three of them to leverage your particular business and to take your business to the next level. So let's answer some quick questions, okay? Just so that we have clarity. Because I've had a lot of clients to say, hey, I have an EIN, I have a DUNS number, and so does that mean that my business is fundable? Does that mean that I don't have to provide a personal guarantee? Does that mean I can apply for a bank loan? Or does that mean that I have established credit? So here's the thing. Most people think just because you have an EIN, you have established business credit. This is incorrect. And it also does not mean that your business is fundable or properly set up, okay? So just to make a little bit more sense out of this, fundable does not mean that you're able to get anything more than basic credit here. We're talking about being fundable to the point where you can finance equipment, supplies, and inventory. So just having your EIN number does not mean that you are fundable, okay? It does not mean that you can apply for a bank loan and get approved, okay? So there's this large misconception that business owners don't have to provide personal guarantees just because they have an EIN. Once again, this is totally false. And you want to kind of make sure you are in a position that you establish and you build your business credit so that you don't have to have personal guarantees, so that you don't have to get personal credit cards to fund your business. Because if so, you may find yourself in a situation where we were pre-COVID, where a lot of people had personal guarantees, or had personal credit cards that they used for their businesses. And then when their businesses had to close, like say a lot of these restaurants and stuff, they were still responsible for those monthly payments on that credit card because guess what? It was a personal credit card. It wasn't a business credit card, and there was no cash flow coming through. So a lot of business owners who had great credit took a hit to their personal credit simply because their business was not operational. Okay? So you want to make sure that your EIN, which is your employee identification, that you have one. But you also want to understand it simply acts as your business's social security number. And it does not mean that you qualify for anything. So let's talk a little bit more, because we've been talking about this PG, and a lot of people, talk about business loans without PG. So we talked about it a little bit before. We talked about people pre-COVID. But one of the main reasons why you don't want to use your PG is because you want to put yourself in the same mindset that the banks do. So banks minimize their risk by having businesses provide personal guarantees for their businesses. Okay, so that's what they do. So you want to do the same thing. You want to minimize your risk as well, right? By not having to provide a personal guarantee for your business, by establishing business credit so that everything is in your business name. And the reason for that is simple. If your business falls behind and has some challenges along the way, which we all saw can happen because it did happen over the last couple of years, right? If your business goes under, you don't want your private assets to be targeted. And so one of the reasons that you create LLCs is to protect your assets. So when you establish business credit, that business credit is associated with your LLC. When you are using your personal credit for your business, then you're leaving your personal assets vulnerable. Your LLC is not protecting your assets because your personal assets are working towards are working hand in hand with your business. And so there's no clear line there. So you're not protected. And that's something that most people don't understand. And so you may be saying, Coach Shaune, if I think that my business may fail, then I'm being kind of negative. Well, no, you're not thinking negative. Owning a business is risky. The statistics show us that within the first 2 to 5 years, a lot of businesses fail, but it's simply because they don't have the capital that they need. So when you understand how to leverage the business credit, then you can get the capital that you need so that you don't have to be a part of those statistics. Okay? So, and once again, you want to make sure that you're protecting your personal assets, because we don't want things like your personal credit score, your personal finances, your personal assets, your personal vehicles, your homes, and all those things that you worked so hard for years to provide for you and your family to be simply taken away, right? So here are some of the reasons why people fail at building business credit. The number one reason is this. It's simple. They do not understand the building blocks in which to start. They try the banks first, and then they're turned down. Then they apply for accounts in the wrong order. And then most of them have no idea which vendors to apply with. So many people have vendors, but those vendors, you may have been in business for 5 years, and you may have had the same vendors for those 5 years, and you're thinking, I have business credit. Well, no, those vendors aren't reporting to anyone. So you have not established business credit. So that's why it's important to make sure that once you start your business, you begin to establish your business credit. So in doing that, the other thing that we want to do is we talked about people not having their businesses set up properly. So we want to make sure that you have a credit optimized company. So how do you create a credit optimized company to make sure that your business is funded? Well, the first thing is you want to establish an IMC, which is another word for an LLC. Okay, it's basically a corporation, so that you're establishing. You want to make sure that when you do that, you get several things in place. Like you want to make sure you have your EIN. You want to make sure that you have a proper registered agent. Now, a lot of times I'll go through and I do different entity analysis with people, and I find that people have their registered agents filled out improperly on their state paperwork for their business. So although you can put whatever you want down there and the state will accept it, depending on how you fill out your registered agent is going to tell corporations a lot about your business, okay? And it sometimes will stop your business from being funded. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, make sure that you follow up with me if you need an entity analysis done on your business to see if you have your business set up properly, then you want to make sure you get in touch with us, okay? And the other thing you want to make sure that you have when you have a creating an optimized business, you want to make sure that you have a corporate presence, okay? And your corporate presence is basically when we're talking about your SEC codes, we're talking about your business email address, we're talking about your website, we're talking about your business phone number. Are you listed properly? And not just in Google, but are you listed everywhere else that businesses are listed, so that when these companies come looking to see if your company is optimized and a legitimate company, because listen, your company can be legitimate, but is it legitimate on paper? Just because you're making money does not mean that it's legitimate on paper. And what the banks and the underwriters are looking for when you're building credit is they're looking at what's on paper. So that's going to be important. Okay, so now let's get into how business credit is built. Okay, so how many of you are familiar with with Legos, okay? So if you've ever played with Legos, you know that creating a foundation is the first step. And it's the same thing within business credit, okay? There has to be a foundation. So once your business has been established, the next step is creating a credit profile. Okay, so I'm going to break down what we call a payback score. And you've heard me say this a little bit in the prior slide. But for all intents and purposes, it's mainly a corporate credit account provided by Dun& and Bradstreet. And it's how Dun & Bradstreet reports their credit scores. Dun & Bradstreet is one of the largest business reporting credit entities. So oftentimes you'll have people say, well, I have a DUNS number. Well, you can have a DUNS number, but you may not have a paydex score. So you need a DUNS number and a paydex score. And DUNS number can go anywhere from 0 to 100 versus on your personal credit side, it goes from 350 to 850. So the goal for your paydex score is to be about an 80 with DUNS, and that's what you need to get started with corporate credit, okay? You're going to be shooting for that 80 score. And, I'll give you a little pro tip here. Unlike your personal credit, if you pay your bills on time, it actually increases your paydex score. I'm sorry, not your personal bills. If you pay your business bills on time, it actually increases your paydex score. Unlike your personal credit, if you pay your bills early, then it doesn't increase. But with paydex, with DUNS, when you pay it early, it works to your advantage, okay? So now that you have a little bit more understanding of the paydex score, let's go to the next step, okay? So there are several different ways of establishing your initial credit. So first, let's talk about the hybrid line of credit. So the hybrid line of credit, basically, it takes your personal credit, right? And then it takes your business, okay? And then really what that does is it puts you in a position to open up accounts using your personal guarantee and using your business information. And typically you can get approved up to $150,000 right off the bat because you're using yourself as a personal guarantee. But remember, we talked about, some of the disadvantages of using your personal care, using a personal guarantee versus establishing business credit and relying on your business. Okay, so that's the first thing. So then the next method that we talked about is pretty much the vendors. That's when we talked about the corporate credit account, right? And this is the corporate credit. This is where you begin to build credit where you're not using your social security number. You simply just need your EIN. You need your DUNS number set up. And this has no impact on your cash flow or your personal credit whatsoever. Okay? So, but the key thing here is, once again, you want to make sure that you're using vendors that are going to be reporting to you. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you target those particular vendors that are going to be reporting your transactions. That's going to actually help you to build your business credit. So now that we understand why it's very important to separate your personal credit, let's move on to building it. So let's dive into getting vendors to approve us without using our personal information and building what we call credibility. So in order to build business credibility, you're going to have to make purchases with we talked about them earlier, vendors, okay? And typically this is going to cost you anywhere from about $150 to $300 a month. And it's based on your budget. So I don't want you to be alarmed because I said it's going to cost you $150 to $300. Yes, that's what it's going to cost you, but I'm going to show you how to do it without costing you. So here's an example, right? I already buy paper towels. I already buy trash bags. And then I buy different things for my office, right? I need copy paper. I need pens. I need different things like that. I need batteries. So instead of me going and buying these things from where I typically buy them, I simply identify a vendor that's reporting and I begin to purchase it from them, right? I use that particular vendor to purchase the items that I already need, and that's going to help me build up my business credit. And I'm still going to get the supplies and the different things that I need. So yeah, I said you're going to spend somewhere between 150 and 300. Well, you're already spending that. You're just going to redirect where you're spending to help you build your business credit. So I hope that makes sense. That's like the simplest form that I could break it down for you. So let's get into tiers, because many of you probably have heard about tiers. So there's several tiers, okay? So you have tier 1 vendors, right? These are the corporate, this is within that corporate credit realm, right? These are the vendors that simply require an EIN and proper business optimization. That's what we talked about, having your business properly optimized, okay? And then these vendors are going to report to Dun & Bradstreet. So these are the ones that are going to create that paydex score for you, okay? And they're going to create a payment history based on your business, based on how you're paying it, okay? And it's going to be done in your business entity's name, okay? Not in your name, solely in your business's name. And then we're going to get to tier 2, okay? And so in order to keep this really simple, you get to tier 2 simply when you have 3 trade lines reported to Dun & Bradstreet. So that means once you get those 3 trade lines reported to Dun & Bradstreet, you're going to have a paydex score. So once you have that paydex score, now you're going to go into tier 2. And then in tier 2, you're going to want to add 2 vendors to Experian or Equifax combined, okay? So at this point, we're looking at having we should have about 5 trade lines reported that we're able to make purchases and pay them off. And these are net 7, net 30 accounts, okay? And then our next tier, which is tier 3, okay? So this is the blueprint for tier 3. For tier 3, you're going to want to have 5 Dun & Bradstreet trade lines. You want to have 2 Experian plus 1 Equifax trade lines. And so that's going to give you a total of 8 payment experiences, okay? And so here in personal and in business credit, we're talking about payment experiences, okay? And so that's something that we talked about earlier. So that is going to be the key for you, is being able to leverage it is going to depend on your payment experiences, okay? And so I'm trying to keep this extremely simple. So you can see it's kind of like we're climbing each step of a staircase, okay? So starting with 1, and then going to 2, and then going to 3. And so at this point, we want to make sure that when we're at tier 3, that we have at least a minimum of $1,000 of credit with these particular accounts. All right. And so then we get to tier 4. So tier 4 is going to be where we get into our fleet credit accounts. So, okay. So generally speaking, in order to get here, you're going to have 7 Dun & Bradstreet trade lines. Okay. 3 of the trade lines combined of the 7 are going to have to be reporting to Equifax and Experian. Okay. Okay. So in order to get there, once again, you're going to need 7 Dun & Bradstreet, and then you're going to need 3 of those to be reported to either Equifax or Experian. And that's going to give us a total of 10 payment experience, okay? And then at that point, you should have no less than 2,000, a minimum of 2,000 limit. So before we move on, I know you're saying, Coach, you said you were going to show us how to get to at least 150,000. And right now you're talking about being on tier 4 and a minimum of 2. Like I said, if you're working with Legos, there's a foundation. So you're building that foundation, okay? So when we get to tier 5 is where the sexy credit is, okay? This is where you get into the revolving credit, okay? This is where your limits start getting high. This is where you start getting the $10,000, $15,000 credit limits, okay? With different entities, okay? So yes, now when you start looking at it and you start looking at, okay, the different payment experience, and different vendors that I have, if you have just three, you know, vendors at this point that have given you a credit limit of 20,000, you just add three additional payment experiences, that's 60,000. So you jumped up from a minimum of 2,000 to 60,000 that quick just by adding three additional payment experiences. Okay, so like we said, tier 5 is where you're going to find that sexy credit. That's where you start getting into the revolving credit accounts. That's where you start getting into your MasterCards, your Visa cards, your Discover cards, your Amex cards, okay, where you start to be able to get those reward points. And then tier 6. Tier 6 is going to give us those even higher limits, those 10 to 20,000, okay. That's not 10 to, well, actually, we were at about 10 to 15, so it's going to vary a little bit. Usually here, you're going to probably get more of your 15 to 30,000 here with tier 6. You're going to get about your 10 to 15 with tier 5. So tier 6, like we said, you get into those higher limits. You're going to have anywhere from 15 to 30,000. So your minimum trade line at this point should be no less than 70,000. And then tier 6 is if you did not have good credit and you're working your way up. When you get to tier 6, this is when you begin to be able to apply for like American Express cards and things of that nature. And you get those nice gold platinum cards right there. But at that point, once again, we're going to make sure that your personal credit has been built up as well, because they're going to take a look at that. All right. So now we get to the part that everybody wants to be at. Okay. So this is tier 7. All right. When we get to tier 7, that's when we're at what we call cash credit. Okay. So at this point, you're going to have at least, when I say at least, that means a minimum of 12 Dun & Bradstreet trade lines, 8 Equifax, and Experian combined for a total of 20 payment experiences between Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. All right. And so when you get here, this is where, you're getting into the point of being able to get commercial credit, commercial mortgages, vehicles, and things of that nature. So let's go back to tier 1 real quick and talk about the application process. So most importantly, you're going to need all your business information available. You're going to be asked for some personal information to identify and to verify your identity. Okay. However, please note, if you begin to provide your social security number, the vendor, okay, in the first 3 tiers, they can make your decision based on your personal credit score and not your business credit. So if your personal credit is not good, you definitely want to make sure that you're not providing that information. You want everything and your decision to be based solely on your business, okay? So this means that there's going to not be any type of increase to your personal credit, which will impact your personal credit score, all right? So like I said, ultimately, you want the vendors to make a decision based solely on your business credit score and not your personal credit score. So vendor approval. A lot of times people are, ask the question, well, I just started my business, can I get approved? So sometimes you have retailers that have what you call time in business, okay, and revenue requirements. But don't allow this to discourage you. If you use the formula that we've provided you with, you can get a manual review and still get approved even if your time in business is low, okay? So the key here, once again, is getting the right number of payment experiences that I laid out to you. Okay, guys, we've mapped this out. We've done step by step how you go literally from tier 1 vendors to tier 7 vendors. We've given you the framework for building business credit. We've even given you what not to do and what to do to have good personal credit and to begin to position your business to acquire more than $150,000 by simply investing in the business. So here's what you need to do. So you need to make sure that your business is fundable. You need to make sure that you determine your business financial goals. Determine if you're willing to invest in your business success. And then last but most importantly, you need to get a mentor, a coach, or someone who knows the formula to building business credit the right way. So if you're still watching this, I know the reason that you're still watching this is simply because you want to learn how to move forward and what are some of the next steps to take. And this is totally awesome because this means that you have determined that you're willing to invest in your business success. So, our business credit mastery program will show you step by step in detail exactly how to start building business credit. It's going to talk about the credit transformation process. It's going to include coaching and educational components to help you improve your credit. We're going to maximize your credit and build wealth. It's all about the information and the education this way so you can maintain it and pass it on. So you're going to have access to business coach, myself, and various advisors to make sure that your business is credible. Okay? We're going to work with you in establishing payment experiences that you need to get started. Okay? We're also going to show you and we're going to help you in implementing the blueprint so that you don't have to provide those personal guarantees. And then we're going to work with you to be able to obtain over that $200,000 in credit. Okay? To also include lending. So, are you ready to take the next step? Are you ready to allow us to help you and your business go to the very next level? So, this is what we want to do. We want you to allow us to help you create a credit optimized company. I didn't say an optimized company. I said a credit optimized company because your company can be optimized. You can be making money. It could be very profitable. But is it credit optimized? And that is going to be the legitimate and essentially making sure that you look just like a Fortune 500 company so that you can start building credit with a solid structure. So that's what we want to do. We want to help you build that credit optimized company. That's going to help you look like a Fortune 500 company that's going to position you to be able to get that next level funding that your business needs. So this isn't just your typical program. We're literally here to help you and to help take these things that we've just talked about to the next level. So let's get started today. I'm looking forward to speaking with you further. If you're an action taker like me and you want to take things to the next level, go ahead and just click the link or go out to the launchmybusiness.us and let's get started. Or if you're a little slower and you're a little bit more reserved and you have some more questions, then feel free to book a free call with my team. And we're going to walk you through step by step exactly how you can get started and what you can do right now to start changing your life with your credit and with your finances. Listen, guys, you are in charge of your future. It's up to you. Only you can make sure that your tomorrow is better than today. So like I said, if you're ready to get started, let's go ahead and let's start building today. Go out to launchmybusiness.us and let's get started. Okay? So we'd like to we like to stay connected with you. And we like for you to allow us to guide you and take you to heights that are purely unimaginable or have been unimaginable to you in regards to your business finance. So we have a Facebook group designed to help and support you. And in this Facebook group, we don't just discuss business credit. We also provide personal credit support. We do live question and answer sessions to answer credit questions, both personal and business. We also offer financial tips. We also provide financial tips to help you operate your business more successfully. Okay, so you can go out on YouTube or our YouTube channel where we talk about different topics like how do you pay yourself, how do you hire your kids, the differences between LLCs and corporations, different things of that nature, payroll, So it's for us, it's about holistically helping you scale your business, understand how to scale it, how to grow it, how to maintain it, and then pass it on uh, to future generations to where it's going to be successful. So make sure that you go out, you join our Facebook group, you visit us on Facebook, visit us on Instagram, join our Facebook group, and as well, find us out on YouTube. And listen, guys, it's been my pleasure. I hope that this has been beneficial to you. Um, I hope that your notes were great. Make sure that you download the checklist. And like I said, if you're an action taker, go out to launch my business.us, and let's get started. And if you have more questions, make sure that you get in contact with us. It's been my pleasure. Have a great day.